What's up, guys? Right here. This is combat tutorial part 2, and this will go over like animation events, damage, and client-side effects. And if you didn't watch part 1, we went over, key pressing, playing animation, giving yourself cooldowns, and using this keyframe function to get the length of the animation that played, so it can help with the cooldown for your next punch. So yeah, so to begin, an animation event is pretty much, it's just an event that happens during a certain part of an animation. And in order to start these, I'm going to grab my animation IDs, and I'm going to open up the animation editor. Sorry for the word cut. So you want to just get your IDs, and when you load your animation, your animation will pop up. And I'm just gonna remove this, but that's what the animation event looks like. So you want to find the part in your animation where you want to call on the hitbox. And remember, your animations are fast, so you want your hitbox to sort of appear in a timely fashion. So I should just like right before the punch, or like on the punch, but I'm gonna do like right here is fine. And then what you want to do is right click on the dark bar. Don't right click on this. I mean, you can still do that as well, but I just like to right click like on the dark bar or on the top, and then you click add animation event, and this should pop up. Now click add event and then name it hitbox, right? And you don't have to fill anything for parameter. If you want, that's fine, but we don't need it. And then you can save, and then you can re-export it. And I'm just gonna find the ID again. So yeah, that's the animation event, and then we're just gonna do the same for all of the other animations. Sorry for the word cut. Okay, so now that you have your animation events, right, and you re-exported your animations, go into the combat server script, and under line 11 where it says action, we're gonna drop a line, and then we're gonna do action get marker reached signal. And this is the function that we will use to get the animation events, right? And since all of the animation events are named hitbox, and this has to be the exact name that we put the animation event as, then we could just do this one function, and this is all we need, right? So now we're gonna make a hitbox. So, and I'm gonna just like scroll in so you can see. So we made this function right here. Now go to the combat module, drop a line under the first function that we have made in the last video, and we're gonna do function combat underscore handler dot, and we could do hitbox. We're gonna do make, or not make, create. I'm gonna create a hitbox, and then we're gonna just send player character, we know the root part. Okay. So now that we have that, we're gonna need to make the hitbox, right? So remember the last time we made a folder inside of the module? We're gonna make another one, and we're just gonna call it meshes. And then in studio, just make a part, and I like to size like my parts to like the same size as a dummy, so like 4 by 5 by 2, and then I'll do like a force field color, like force field texture and a red color. And I'm gonna just remove the cast shadow. Make sure can collide is false and messless is true, and then name it Hitbox, right? Now drag that into the meshes folder. Now go back to the module, and inside the function, we're gonna make a folder, right? It's local folder. Yeah, we could do a folder. And then we're gonna do instance.new folder. I'm gonna name the folder our player's name, so player.name dot combat. And then at the top, I'm gonna do local debris, secret of game, get service debris, and then we're gonna do debris add item folder in 0.25 seconds, right? Now we're gonna clone the hitbox, so local hitbox, and before that, you see where it says local animations? Just drop a line and do local meshes, because you could have script dot meshes, right? And then hitbox is equal to meshes dot hitbox clone. Then hitbox dot cframe is equal to humanoid repart dot cframe times cframe dot new 0 0 negative 2. Negative 2 is fine. And then we're gonna do hitbox dot parent is equal to folder. And then we need to weld the hitbox, so local weld is equal to instance dot new manual weld. Then weld dot part 0 is equal to hitbox weld dot part 1 is equal to humanoid repart. Weld dot part, I mean not weld, weld dot c0 is equal to weld dot part 1 dot cframe to object space, and then weld dot part 1 dot cframe, and then weld dot parent is equal to weld dot part 0, right? Oh wait, I'm dumb. We didn't even call the function. So remember, we made the function get marker reach signal. Now we need to call the combat handler dot create. I think it's combat handler. Yeah, combat handler dot create. Well, we could just copy that, and then we're gonna do local humanoid repart is equal to character dot humanoid repart. So this is what you should have. And also here you can pause. Sorry for the word cut. So go back to the module, and then make sure you parent the folder to workspace. That's why it wasn't working, because I didn't parent the folder. But now everything should be working. So we're just gonna wait for this to load, and then yep. So you see how the hitboxes, you know, spawn in front of our player. So yeah. So that's how we make the hitbox. Now we have to make it do damage, right? Now I will usually use dot touch sometimes, but I've been using get touching parts more. I just found that a little bit more efficient. So what we're gonna do is local connection, and then we're gonna do connection is equal to hitbox dot touched colon connect. Function end. So that's what you want that to look like. Then we're gonna do local results is equal to hitbox get touching parts. And I'm gonna just double check if this this is how you do it. Let me just find it real quick. Get touching parts. Yep, that's how we do it. And now we're just gonna print results, so we can just make sure it works first and foremost. And this results is like a table, so like it will show up and output as a table as well. So we're just gonna punch, and this is all the parts that it touched. Now we can sift through this and check and see, you know, if the part is not our player, and also if it's an enemy and the enemy is above 0 health, right? So to do that, we're gonna do a loop. So we're gonna do coroutine.wrap function and then parentheses at the end. Now this is the same as doing spawn functions. I just feel like I just want to do coroutine, so that's what we're gonna do here. Then we're gonna do for underscore object and pairs results do. So we're running a loop, and actually I think I need I. We're gonna do print results I, right? And we're just gonna double check if this works as well. Yep, that works. Okay, so we're gonna remove the printing. Now we're gonna check if results I, and we're gonna do if not results I is descendant of character. So if it's not any part of our character, right, then it could continue. Next we need to check local e humanoid, so enemy humanoid is equal to results I dot parent on first child humanoid, and if e humanoid, then so if it does find a humanoid of the enemy and e humanoid dot health is greater than 0, then it destroys the hitbox. Then we're gonna do if connection, then connection dot or colon disconnect. So we have to disconnect this function right here, so we don't have like a loose data, or like I forget the word, but you want to make sure you disconnect this so you can save up on resources. And then we can do enemy humanoid take damage, and we're gonna do like 10. And also we're gonna break, right? Because we don't want the loop to continue. Unless you wanted to like do multiple people being hit by the same hitbox, then you could do that as well. But just for the sake of this video, we're gonna do one person. So you see how we have the coroutine wrap. So that's all you need right here. Now under the coroutine wrap function, we're gonna do task dot delay. So think of task delay as a regular delay function but faster. And then we're going to do 0.25 function, because 0.25 is how long the folder lasts, right? And then we're going to do if connection then. So if connection is just a failsafe. Sorry for the word cut. Okay, so if connection then is like a failsafe, and it checks and see if connection is a valid like object, or like it holds any value other than nil. And if it doesn't, then it will just disregard. But if it does, then it makes sure to disconnect. So that's why we have like 2 of these. So if the hitbox hits earlier, then it goes away. Then the hitbox itself can disconnect the function, and this will still run, but since connection will be disconnected already, it wouldn't have a need to go here. And then I think that's it. Yeah, that should be it. So we're gonna save and then play. And you're gonna see we'll be able to do damage. So yeah, we're doing damage to the dummy. Just make sure you make your hitboxes invisible too. So yeah, we're just gonna make the hitbox invisible real quick. Yeah, I'll just do it like that. Okay. So now we're gonna do visual effects, and now I'll be right back. Alright, so we're gonna do the combat visual effects now. And to get started, we're just gonna have like a spear, and this is a spear mesh, so I can like stretch it and all that. You could probably find some in the toolbox, and I'll leave a download for this part right here so you can have it. And just make sure to name it spear 1. Make sure anchored is true, can't collide is false, and then you should be set and ready to start. So if you haven't learned what client-side effects are, then I suggest you go to my previous tutorial where I went over it in a VFX tutorial right here with the VFX handler and such. And yeah, we're just gonna use that same method, right? So to get started, we're gonna make a remote event. We're gonna name it VFX, just to get that going. And we're gonna make a folder and starter pack, name it VFX underscore handler, and then inside of that make a local script and call it VFX handler as well, right? Now what you want to do is you want to reference the visual effects remote. So local RP is equal to game get service replicated storage, and then local VFX is equal to RP wait for child VFX. Sorry for the word cut. So yeah, we have the VFX handler, and then we write down these 2 lines, and then we're gonna do VFX dot on client event colon connect function, and then local player. And I'm gonna just double check to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Okay, you don't need the player. The player is useful sometimes, but you don't need the player. All right, we're gonna do argument. So dot 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 local argument is equal to table, and we're gonna make the 3 dots into a table. And then we're gonna do, gotta load the module, right? Yep. So local module is equal to require script find this child, and then argument 1, and then module argument 2 parentheses and argument. Oh wait, and let me just make sure I do that correctly. So it should look like that. And you're probably like, what are arguments? Think of arguments as just like a list of parameters, right? and it's going to be ordered in a way, and I like to make a key. So make the key right here. So argument 1 is always the module's name. Argument 2 is the module's function. Argument 3 is like the pivot or the C-frame object that we need to use like the C-frame for. And then you can have like argument 4 is some other stuff like folder maybe, whatever, but I'm gonna make the folder on the client side. So for now you just need argument 1, 2, and 3. And now you're wondering where's the combat VFX module. So now inside of VFX handler we need to make a module script, and we're just gonna call it combat VFX, right? That exact name, right? And then we're gonna name this the same thing. And now we need to make a function, right? So function combat VFX handler dot VFX can be the name of the function, right? And then parentheses and then argument and then enter. So this is what the module should look like right now. Now inside of this module, make a folder. You call it meshes. And now drag that sphere that you have into that mesh folder, right? So now at the top, we can do local meshes is equal to script dot meshes, and then we need to do local tween service. We get a game get service tween service, and then local debris is equal to game get service debris. And that should be it for what we need to call on. So now we're gonna do local folder is equal to instance.new, and then we're gonna make a new folder. And now for the sake of this video, actually, we're gonna put argument 3 as the player's name, because I just like to have it named in well. It's not necessary, actually. It's not necessary. And then we could just name the folder combat VFX. And then folder.parent is equal to workspace. Make sure to parent your folder. And then we're gonna do debris add item folder 1 second. And now we're gonna do another coroutine wrap function. So we just have like a separate thread to work with. And now inside of this, we're going to do a loop. So for I equals 1. Now depending on how many parts you want, depends on like how big this number is. We're just going to go with 12 and then do. So your loop should look like that. Now we need to clone the sphere. So meshes.sphere clone, and if sphere dot, we're gonna do size first. So vector 3.new, and it could be 0.2 0.1 0.1 and then sphere dot C frame is equal to argument 3. So remember, argument 3 is like the pivot or the C-frame object that we need to use for C-framing this stuff. And then we're going to do dot C-frame times C-frame dot angles math dot rad, and then math dot random. And then inside of that, we're going to do negative 180 180. And be careful not to remove unnecessary like parentheses. So remember, you have the 2, and then we have what we put in here, which is math.red, and it should be 1 parentheses, another, and then 2 ones after that. And you want to put a comma between that, put another one, comma, and another one, right? And then at the end of that line, do times cframe dot new 0 0, and then negative. And my distance for me is just going to be 0.5. You can make it 0 if you want, but I'm just make it 0.5. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing 0 actually. I'll make it 0.5. Then we're gonna parent the sphere to the folder. Now we have to tween it, right? So we're gonna do 3 tweens, right? So tween service sphere tween info.new 0.5. Yeah. And then inside of this, we're gonna do debris sphere 0.5, right? So this how long each sphere will last. And I'll do 0.25 actually. 0.25 seems fast. And then we're gonna do comma, squiggly brackets, and then we're gonna do cframe is equal to sphere.cframe times cframe.new 0 0 negative. Let's do -10. And then we're gonna do colon play. And now we're gonna do another tween service right after this, right? We're gonna do sphere tween info.new, and then in this we're gonna do 1.125, which is half of 0.25, and then we're gonna do squiggly brackets. We're gonna put play as well, and inside of this we're gonna do size is equal to vector 3 dot, god dang this keyboard, vector 3 dot new, and then we're gonna do 0.2, 0.2, and 6 like 6 distant, right? And actually we'll do 5. Well, how long the sphere will be. And then we're gonna do task dot delay 0.125 function, and then we're gonna copy this same like second tween that we put, and we're gonna paste it right here, and we're just gonna set the values back to 0.1, 0.1, 0.1 in size, and then we're gonna add transparency is equal to 1, right? So now before we finish this all up, I'm gonna go back to the module, the server module, and inside where we do the damage, I'm gonna do another coroutine wrap, right? So we can make this a separate thread and we don't yield anything. And then we're gonna do for underscore player and pairs game get, well, game dot players get children do. And now let me just double check that. Yep. And now we're gonna do, remember we have to reference the VFX remote, so we're just gonna copy these 2 lines, go to the module, and paste those 2 lines in there, and then we're gonna come back down to here, and we're gonna do VFX fire client because we're firing it to the client, and then we're gonna put player, which is right here. These should be the same. And then remember, anything after player will be the argument, right? So argument 1 is combat VFX because that's the name of the module. Sorry for the word cut. Okay. Argument 2 is the function inside of it, which is VFX all lowercase. And then argument 3 will be the pivot point. So we need another variable. We're gonna do local enemy humanoid root part. We're just gonna copy this line and do humanoid root part, right? And we're gonna just send the humanoid root part through there, and then we could save this and then play, and everything should work as accordingly. So let's test it out. And you can see we have the Vfx, and it is a bit fast. You can change the speed if you want, but yeah, that's how you do damage, animation events, and client side effects. I'm just doing some basic client like combat effects, but like you can make this as much as you want. This is just like for the tutorial. And if you need to see what we did, this is the server module. You can always pause. Let me just open that up like that. And then this is a VFX handler, like local script, which is that. And then this is the servers, I mean not the server, the combat VFX module. And then on the side is this. And yeah, that should be done. If you guys enjoyed this part, hit the like, sub, share. Let me know what you want to see next. I don't know if I want to do, like, I'm gonna do the sword combat, but I don't know if I want to do it in the next part or the part after. So just let me know if y'all want to do the sword combat, or you want me to go over something else real quick for the melee combat. And yeah, thanks for watching.